Good morning. This is the Truth Seeker 333. It is Wednesday morning, the 15th of August. And I am off to work again. School is still out, so traffic is very nice right now. And been getting up early, so I'm doing the whole, get up at 5 a.m. every day thing right now, and continuing on my vegan diet. Actually, Starch solution seems to be working out really well. I haven't been hungry, been getting all the calories I need, and just general enjoyment of the food overall. And when I cheat a little bit, like with the little oil here and there, I notice that I do get swelling, inflammation, and so then I'm like, okay, cut back on the oils, and today, I had been having a lot of, this week, beans, and I created a chili, and I had rice with that, and I had a lot of carbs, starches, and not a lot of fruits and veggies. So today I'm like craving more fruits and veggies, so that's a good thing. And the thing about this diet is what I really like about it is it's really easy on the pocketbook. And because you're not out there trying to buy meat every day or every other day or whatever. Seriously, I mean, if and ever I begin to eat meat again, I'm not going to be eating meat, every day. And for that matter, even dairy every day, because it's way too expensive. And you don't need to. I mean, essentially, even if you were to eat it like once a week, think of the savings, of the money savings that you would be having. And, essentially, you don't need all that protein, all that excess protein. From what I've been learning is just harder on your kidneys. And that's the main thing I've been getting is, taking away from about the fact that the protein requirements, that are set for each, for the average adult, for the average, man, the average woman, is something like close to 3 ounces of protein per meal. I think they set it at 75 grams. If you go into the conversion calculator, grams to ounces, it's going to come out to like 2.65 ounces of protein per meal. Okay, so like 3 ounces of protein per meal, and then whatever that works out to per day. And what they're saying is that this is like way too high. Like the American standard is higher than the World Health Organization, if you want to believe them, because but just because organizations are amiss in a lot of other ways. I'm not going to discount that, but let's just say that, for the sake of argument, they're correct. They happen to be correct in this instance. And the World Health Organization standards are actually lower in this case than the American standards for protein. And so there's been studies on this, and at the turn of the century, before the advent of TV and how just cutting the protein in half, because it used to be they were saying 100 grams of protein, then they went down to 50 grams of protein, and people were still thriving, and doing fine. And again, getting back to that whole thing about protein, somehow animal protein is superior to plant protein. Now, one thing I do acknowledge is that if you eat meat, from what I understand, you will get an increased amount of strength in your muscles, which is most likely due to the creatine. So, not to say that you cannot build muscle on a plant-based diet. Of course you can, and you can do all kinds of things and balance your diet so that you're promoting a strength-based, plant-based diet. But it seems like while there are positives to eating meat, sometimes the negatives far outweigh the positives. And but seeing as how I am a believer in the Bible, I tend to believe that as it was in the beginning, that's how it's going to be in the ending. So, in the beginning, man ate the fruits and the seeds and the herbs, and in the end, we will be resurrected, and at that point, I do believe that we will be eating from the trees again, and we will be eating a vegan diet once again. So what's the harm in eating it right now? So at one point, the Lord allowed us to eat meat, which was after the flood, the great flood. The Lord allowed man to eat the meat. And so God has always been gracious in allowing for certain circumstances at the time. After the great flood, there may not have been enough plant foods to survive, that kind of thing. And yet he set down all kinds of stipulations about the eating of meat. Only eating clean meats, and only eating what we call kosher meats. And again, over the years, they've said, when you eat meat, you need to kosher it or kasher it, which is a process of purifying the meat, or actually cleansing it from the blood. Where they put the meat in water, soak it with salt, kosher salt, about 3 times. And so they're actually cleansing a lot of the fat off of that meat. The salt is loosening up the fat and acting as a detergent, and actually cutting through a lot of that and getting all those toxins, because the toxins reside in the fat, which is kind of interesting. I just say all of this to say that we were not to eat the blood, because the life is in the blood. And then we see the example of Daniel, and how when he was put to the challenge with his men against the king's army men, and they went on a 21-day fast of vegetables and water, Daniel's men were stronger and looked healthier at the end of 21 days. So what does it say in the Bible? It says that essentially we should all go on prolonged periods of fasting where we're just eating nothing but vegetables and water. Does it say basically, does it say that that's how we should eat? God doesn't tell us how we should eat. He told us in the beginning that He gave us as food, the plants and the seeds. So the Lord did tell us what is food for man. And so I find that very interesting. And then He allowed us, He says, I will now allow you to eat as food the meat, of the animals. So it's kind of like when you read in the Bible about divorce. God does not want divorce, but He allowed it in certain circumstances because of the situation of people committing adultery, and so the Lord didn't want complicated situations arising where people were just causing more family tensions, and men were taking advantage of women. That's another thing. And divorce was something that was created to bring justice and fairness, so that men wouldn't be running around divorcing all their wives all the time. But that's a whole nother topic. But I bring that up to say that it's the same thing with food. As it was in the beginning, man ate the fruits of the tree and the seeds. But then at some point He allowed us to begin to eat the meat because of the situation. So I'm not saying that we should all be on a vegan diet or anything like that, but I know that for right now, in my age and my health conditions, it's what I need to be eating right now. And so it's working out. It's working out, and I really have come to understand a lot about it, and I'm excited to share more. And wow, it looks like it might rain today. I can't believe it. It's only 75 degrees out, which is amazing, because it's been so hot lately here in Southern California. Of course, it doesn't get too humid here, and it's funny because even the heat, Californians still have it kind of nice here, because it doesn't get that humid, but we still walk around complaining about it, like, oh, it's so hot. All right. God bless you all. Keep seeking truth. And I look forward to my next video. Bye.